Hello, so we've got another video here I'm going to try to make. I received a couple more knives here today. These two showed up today. I actually ordered these two separately. This is the Cold Steel Tie-Lite 6-inch. And that's what we have here in the box. I went ahead and opened it already and stuck the knife back in the box. I suppose technically I should have stuck it back in the plastic here. But so here's the other. These tie-lights are not the star of this video. I gotta make room. These things are so long. The real star of this particular video is this Cold Steel Luzon. And I've been evolving with my knife selection. I keep evolving over the years. Especially recently, I've been evolving aggressively with trying to really zero in on precisely what I'm after with a knife. And I've adapted a few outlooks, I guess you could say, regarding what I'm after out of a knife. For example, I'm okay with carrying more than one. For the longest time, I've only carried one. I decided to go with this because it looked like it was as big as this, but maybe better suited for practical everyday use. I swear, I mean, I've been a knife carrier and enthusiast of knives since I was a child. I will not claim to know a whole lot about them. I know there's cheap knives, I know there's expensive knives, there's old-timer knives, buck knives, all this other kind of stuff. I'm more into the tactical type stuff, mostly because you can use it for EDC, opening packages, or if you perhaps in a self-defense type situation. But for me, mostly, I like these newer knives because they open quickly and they have good, safe locks on them. Whereas like these old knives were usually in some sort of a case, you know, something like this, that would be on your belt. So you'd have to flip, reach back, flip this open, pull the knife out. Usually use two hands to open, but I imagine if you're good at it, you could probably open that with one hand. You know, this is some cheap Chinese, or I think it's actually a Pakistan knife. But so anyways, I've kind of evolved into having knives that were better for quickly being deployed, being pulled out of nowhere, out of sight, out of mind, being pulled, used for the intended application, and then put back away. And for 99.9% of the time for me, it's nothing more than opening packages. I get packages all the time. And anyways, let's get to it. So here's the box. This is the shape that the box came to me in. It was already opened. The box was smashed. Cold steel. Anytime, anywhere. Weight 9.3 ounces. There's the steel type. I couldn't tell you if that's good or bad. I got a feeling it's a better steel for me, but I doubt it's I highly doubt it's the best steel out there. The blade length is 6 inches, overall 13.5, thickness is 13.5. So there's this side of the box. We're going to get all sides of the box. There's the back of the box. I'm gonna get this side. Get this end. Guess we'll get that end. I think that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and open it. It's a tight fit in that box. So here it is. I will say that this is significantly easier to open and close over the tie light. And basically, when I saw how cheap I could get one of these, I'm like, I'm ready to try these big folders. That doesn't mean I'm ready to whip them out in front of anyone and everyone. They will be supplemented by a smaller knife that I can quickly get out of my pocket to open my packages and put back away. So anyways, here's what the knife looks like. Here's the handle. Here's the other side. You'll notice it has a plastic pocket clip, a lanyard hole. You'll notice that we have metal liners, plastic handles. Apparently they claim that this is supposed to mimic something about bamboo. We have a liner lock, and then we have a lock for the liner lock. We have these thumb studs you can use to open and close, but it's easier to just use this. And then there we are. That's what the blade looks like. This is what it looks like when the thing's deployed. Well, first of all, I like the lines. I like the way it looks. It looks aggressive, yet functional. It is lighter than what I expected. Same with these tie light, 6 inches. These are quite a bit lighter than what I envisioned. I'm going to go ahead and set a Gerber Easy out over here for the sake of comparison between these different knives. So I don't know that I'll ever go out of my way to lock this. I feel like that's redundant. I might use it, but I will say that I like that it feels like I can open and close this with one hand easily. I will say also, I've been getting last several of these knives off of eBay, and I've been having a terrible time with eBay lately. Packages not showing up, stuff being used when it's supposed to be new. I've had all kinds of issues. I just opened up a motherboard. It was supposed to be brand new. It was not brand new. It had bent pins on the socket. I just dealt with that this summer. Bent pins on the CPU socket. So anyways, this had fingerprints all over it. The seal was broken, and I was feeling the edge, and the edge doesn't feel as sharp as I think it should be, and I saw a couple of nicks in the edge. So I think someone had this, used it for a while, maybe returned it, or for whatever reason. Maybe that's why I got it so cheap. I got this really cheap. It was like 36 bucks shipped, I think. Is it worth 36 bucks? Yeah. But the listing said it was new. How does it feel? Yeah, I got the same old junk and trash sitting in the house. I need to get this place cleaned up. This is actually very easy. Feels good in the hand. It's easy to open and close. I have tore my thumbs up. You could see where I've been damaging my thumbs dealing with the liner lock on the tie light. I got these tie lights. Well, one came today. The other one came last Thursday. And one of the reasons I like to get a knife is it gives me something to play with. I whip it out of my pocket and deploy it and close it and deploy it, you know, open and close, open and close, open and close it. and I kind of break it in. I get my hands acclimated to how it feels in the hand. You know, I get to where I flip them open and closed. I want to do it left-handed. I want to do it right-handed. I want to wave it out of my pocket. I'm examining that lock. It appears to be relatively weak from what I can see. Like right there, it's barely locked, as you can see. I'm just going to barely close it. Yeah, I would say only half of the lock is engaged, so maybe that is why we have this supplemental lock. Seems like it'd be easier to just make this better. You know, so then you get people like me that'll complain these are too stiff and too hard to move, and they lock up incredibly well. So they've softened it up and now it looks weak. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to flip that open again. I don't know if you probably didn't see that. Yeah, it's barely locked. Barely. I'm going to go ahead and push this over. Or push this up to see if it locks up any better. Huh. That could be a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do this in a way that maybe you can see. What about waving it out of my pocket? So it's in the pocket. Seemed like we had a good lock that time. Did not lock that time. Locked that time. Got a good lock that time. Good lock. Okay, here's what it is. You really have to snap it hard if you want it to lock. So I'm just kind of barely flipping it out. And it's not getting locked. Sometimes. See that it didn't lock that time. To be honest with you, I'm okay with this. Now that I've had it in my hand and I've flipped it a few times, I just got it today at work and I haven't had a whole lot of time to play with it. I like how it feels. I like its size. I like how light it is. It feels sturdy. It feels like it's opening and closing easily. I wonder what that's hitting on. I don't know what's keeping that in a position. It has some sort of an indent. It's probably a little bearing of some sort. Try some more flips. It locked up pretty good that time. And then we'll try to wave it out. Well, I guess this isn't technically a wave. So you go down and then forward with it. I need to get acclimated to its size. That's for sure. I watched a guy make a YouTube video over this knife, and he took a water bottle and he sliced the water bottle, and the top half fell down next to the bottom half, and it stayed sealed against the table. He had a tablecloth and a little bit of water leaked, and it probably sealed it because it was acting against a vacuum. But still, the seal, the cut was pretty clean. It was kind of an interesting thing to watch. But I like it. Now, I guess as far as things that I could talk about, I'm not I'm not a fan of the plastic clip. I was watching that dude that seems to run Cold Steel. I think I like Cold Steel stuff. They make some crazy commercials, but that Thompson dude was talking about how he's going to start bringing back plastic, and I'm like, man, no, that was. I was so glad to see when knives stopped having plastic clips, pocket clips. It's comfortable. You barely notice it. To be completely honest with you, it contours in your hand all right. It isn't shiny, which is good. That's the next thing I was going to talk about. I don't like the shine. I would rather it be a flat black. But I got a feeling that they're going for looks. They're going for that mirror look there. They're thinking that it's going to look cool with having a shiny blade. Probably be my guess. I would rather it have a flat black look like these other black knives of mine. And in a self-defense type situation, or almost any defense type situation, I would almost rather no one see that I have a knife, let alone see how big this knife is. So, in fact, I like that so little, I'm tempted to figure out how I can make that black, if it's even possible, and not screw the whole thing up. Like maybe I'll tape off the edge, and then I'll tape off. I'll take the whole thing apart, and I'll probably tape off where I don't want the paint where the bushings and stuff are. I just want the visible shiny parts to be black. Same with the tie light here. Not only do we have a shiny blade, but we got shiny pocket clip, and then a shiny metal liner showing through the handle. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the shine. So, I guess it feels good in the hand. I've always kind of liked these things. I don't know what you call them, quillions or something. It serves a couple of purposes. You can use this one to flip the knife out. You can use this one to wave it out of your pocket. You can use the thumb stud to open it. But someone had pointed out to me that these really aren't thumb studs per se, but stops. And I suppose that's possible. I don't see what else could be stopping this knife on the inside. So basically these rest against the liner, and that's what stops the knife, and then the lock locks it into position. Boy, that lock barely locks. Might have to investigate that. Maybe I gotta file something down or something, I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine. What else can I say? If I knew more about knives, I would comment more. I don't, for example, I don't know what this metal is, if that's a good metal. I don't know if the shape is good. It doesn't have serration. I consider that a good thing. Um, I don't know what the point of this is. That's on both sides. Is that supposed to be left over from the days when people used their thumbnails to open up the knife? Maybe that's what that is. Something to grab a hold of to open the knife. I don't know. I don't know what the point of this is. Maybe for penetration. You can see nicks all through there, even though it's a brand new quote-unquote from eBay. So I like it. It is huge. This is what I would consider to be kind of your average size pocket knife. This is a Gerber Easy Out. As you can see, that is considerably more knife. It's so big, I don't think it's really coming across here. So I'm going to put this in the crevice of my arm. You can see it goes all the way out to my, halfway out to my middle finger here. And then from the crevice of my arm it goes up. Well, I'm not going to show that. That's probably a terrible angle. So, I don't know. I like it. I'm probably going to scare people if I carry this. Friends and family are probably going to think I'm a weirdo if they know that I have such a giant knife on me. It's not uncommon for... I think everyone knows that I carry a pocket knife. I have for probably close to 20 years now. And even when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to carry knives in school, but I always had them. I always had knives of some sort. But, you know, I don't know. I guess if I was to talk about the progression of how I ended up here, I would say that it was because, well, it started off here for me, you know, probably 20-some years ago. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was something basically to play with. Like, sometimes I will carry a Zippo and I don't even smoke. It's just something to play with. And I know you can go about 2 weeks of playing with the Zippo before it runs out of fluid. But I eventually got a job where I had to cut packing tape and stuff like that. So this kind of began to become useful more than just a toy. It was just kind of useful. And maybe I always thought it would be like a self-defense thing also. I know back in the 90s I'd go into bars and whatnot, and people, like security guys, would spot me with a knife and say, hey, you got to get rid of that. I'm like, all right, sorry, you know, I didn't think about that. So I've always carried these knives. And I graduated to a Kershaw. I don't remember why, but I remember thinking that this was really cool, having that spring actuation there. It's completely unnecessary. I think I eventually went to something more tactical, something more suited for self-defense type situations. Went with the CRKT. This is the M21-14 SFG. And again, I wanted to be able to... I probably should state, I had a Tylite 6-inch. I've got them lined up in the order in which I've gotten these knives. But I had a Tylite 6-inch, and it had a hook that would catch my pockets, just like these guys that had this hook, how this has the hook. And I really liked how it got it caught in my pocket. So when I saw these, I'm like, yeah, I need to have one of these. Lost it. Bought another one to replace it. Got the Tonto wedge. Unfortunately, it's serrated. And then I found this, so I had two. And then I acquired this. It was given to me. And then I thought this was cool, but the blade was too small or too thin. I figured I might break this off. To be honest with you, I was thinking, like, if a pit bull is attacking me, I ride a bike, sometimes a bicycle, and oftentimes there's freaking dogs. And I was just thinking, this isn't big enough to do the job. I'm probably going to break the blade off. So then I moved on to a bigger, thicker blade. But then, and I did that, but then I thought, well, this handle, now the handle's the weak spot. So then I moved on to this guy. This is even bigger. As you can see, it's quite a bit heavier. And I went with the dagger style. And I also wanted my next knife to have a glass breaker. I think some people call these a skull crusher, but I would not. That would not crush the skull. It'd probably penetrate it with enough force. Pocket clips are necessary. This is a clone. This is a, well, no, not even a clone. This is a rip-off or knockoff of a Microtech Saber or something. I don't remember. And I fixed this. It was super hard to open and close. And basically I loosened up the spring in there a little bit, took a little tension off the spring, and it's perfect now. So, and then I got to thinking, this is kind of gimmicky. I like it, don't get me wrong. It's gimmicky, it's heavy, and the I don't have a whole lot more blade here than I do with what I had before. So I keep gradually working my way up, and so I'm like, well, let's look at a tie light. And then I'm like, let's get a tie light 4-inch. Then I'm like, nah, you know what? How much for the 6-inch? Then I saw how cheap the 6-inchers were, and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do that. Then I got my tie light, 6-inch, and then as soon as I saw this, and I'm like, this feels more ergonomic. This feels a little more practical. Again, I just open up packages and somewhat carry for self-defense. And I just got to thinking, if a pit bull is attacking me and I stab it with this, the pit bull may not even feel it. Same with this. Maybe we're getting somewhere with this, because I can, rip either way with this guy. And then I'm like, you know what? What if I get one of these? And I'm like, well, what if I... And then I got a little crazy, and then I'm like, well, what if I go with 2 of those? One for my left hand, one for my right hand. And then I'll complement with this guy for packages. Self-defense on the trails, and something for packages at work. And I don't know, I guess this was a little more impulsive. I just felt like this is a more user-friendly version of this. And I can tell you, I want to play with these. I want to flip them. I want to get used to them. I want to get acclimated, get good with handling them. But I can't hardly close the damn thing. My thumbs are a mess, and they're super sore. You could see my thumbnails are all chewed up and tore up from trying to open and close these. So I didn't really spend a whole lot of time researching this. I saw that we had something similar to this, but a thicker blade. I don't know. So that's how we ended up here. So I guess that's all I got.